Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to address something that seems to be the biggest difficulty people face when they're trying to manifest a different reality for themselves, whatever the desire might be that they're manifesting. And that seems to be the circumstances surrounding the situation, whatever the situation might be. And when I say circumstances, that can mean things that happened in the past, the old story, things that are happening now, what the current 3D is showing. It can be anything that you perceive as an obstacle, as a block, as something that is stopping your manifestation from coming to the 3D. That is a circumstance that you're giving power to and that you're giving importance to. So in today's video, I want to help you view your circumstances, whatever these might be, under a different light, and realize that the only one giving power to circumstances, giving weight to circumstances, giving importance to circumstances is you and only you. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So all of you watching this channel, all of you watching this video are presumably watching because you have a desire or a number of desires that you're manifesting into your 3D. And presumably also, you may be faced with certain circumstances, things that you feel are impossible to overcome or very difficult to overcome, or things that are blocking your manifestation, or things that if they weren't there, my manifestation would have been here. If those circumstances weren't there, I would have been with my specific person now. I would have the money now. I would have the job now. I would have the car. I would have the house. There's always one or more circumstances that we see as obstacles to our manifestation. So today, I want to invite you guys to really think, really reflect, and even take some emotional distance from your manifestation and from your desire, and actually see things from a more distant perspective, from a more distant position, and actually decide for yourself if those circumstances that you are so worried about, if those circumstances that you feel are huge blocks, that you feel are actually stopping your happiness from happening, are really mountains, or if in reality, they're just molehills. So we have this expression in English, making a mountain out of a molehill. What that means is that you're taking a circumstance, you're taking an event, you're taking a fact, and you're giving it so much importance, you're blowing it so much out of proportion, usually out of fear, usually out of doubt, usually out of insecurity, that you end up seeing that little molehill of a circumstance as a huge mountain, as something that is huge and insurmountable, as something that you have to climb and something that you have to put in a lot of effort to conquer, something that is so difficult, something that is nearly unattainable, if not completely unattainable, if not impossible. You just see it as this huge, ginormous, gigantic obstacle, and you see yourself as powerless, as helpless, as hopeless, just standing there looking at that huge mountain, wondering how you're going to overcome that obstacle, how you're going to overcome that circumstance. So today I want to invite you to take a little bit of a distance from your desire and from the obstacles, from the circumstances that you perceive as obstacles and as blocks, and actually look at them from a more objective perspective, from a more detached point of view, and actually ask yourself, is that really a mountain? Or is it actually a molehill? Is my desire and my longing for my manifestation, which is increasing my insecurity perhaps, which is perhaps increasing my doubts and my fears, actually skewing my view of how big my circumstances actually are? For example, am I manifesting a specific person who is with a third party? And am I seeing this as insurmountable? If that's the case, why am I seeing this as insurmountable? Have I never heard of couples breaking up? Have I never heard of that? Has it never happened? Is that unheard of? If I'm manifesting money and I'm currently broke, why am I seeing this as such an insurmountable circumstance? Have I never heard of poor people becoming very rich, even millionaires? Yes, you have. That's all around us. That's happening all the time. There's all these inspirational stories of people who were homeless at some point and now they're millionaires. We have heard this over and over and over again. It's actually many people's story. So why is it so insurmountable? I'm manifesting buying a house and I have bad credit. Is that really that insurmountable? Have you never heard of people repairing their credit and eventually succeeding in what they wanted, eventually achieving what they wanted? Why is it insurmountable then? Why is it such a mountain? Is it such a mountain? Let's say you have a health problem and you're manifesting a cure, you're manifesting healing. Have you never heard of people being healed even from very, very serious diseases? Even when the doctors were saying otherwise and were giving no hope. Have you never, ever, ever heard of such stories? Because I hear of such stories all the time. So is it really that impossible? Especially when you know how to apply the law. Especially when you know how to apply your imagination. Is it really that impossible? Is it really insurmountable? So you see then that our circumstances, 100% of the time, is what we make of them. If we make them to be something huge, something gigantic, something that is a huge block, something that is making things impossible for us, this is the reality we're living in. And this is the evidence we're going to continue to receive from the outer world, that this circumstance is insurmountable. It's never going to go away. It's never going to change. It's never going to shift. I'm always going to be stuck here, never being able to get my desire. And yet another person might take the exact same circumstance and not make much out of it, not think much of it, not think that it's a huge obstacle. They might think, yeah, whatever, it's going to change, it's going to shift, things are going to work out in my favor somehow. And they do. Exact same circumstance. And yet for one person, the circumstance persists, and for another person, the exact same circumstance brings a completely different result. It changes, it shifts, it falls away. Because it wasn't given much attention, it wasn't given much focus or much importance by that second person. So you and only you are the only one who decides how much power circumstances hold over you. It is never the external circumstance, it is never what the 3D world is showing. It is always you 100% of the time who is in charge and who decides what circumstances mean for you. What meaning you give them, what label you attach to them, how much focus you put on them, how much attention you put on them, how much you fear them. Do you think they're a mountain, or do you think they're just a molehill that is going to be overcome? The decision is on you. You're in charge. And to illustrate this point a little better, I want to read to you a little passage from Neville. It's from the book At Your Command. And he's talking about a passage from the book of Numbers in the Bible. Actually, I don't have the Neville book today with me, but I have it in front of me on my laptop, so I'm going to read from there. So the passage says, "In that day there were giants in the land, and we were in our own sight," listen to this, "we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. And we were in their sight as grasshoppers." And then a little further down, Neville continues and he says, "But you are told you were first in your own sight a grasshopper. And because of this, you were to the giants a grasshopper." In other words, you can only be to others what you are first to yourself. You can only be to others what you are first to yourself. Therefore, to revalue yourself and begin to feel yourself to be the giant, a center of power, is to dwarf these former giants and make of them grasshoppers. So Neville is saying the exact same thing here. What are you making of your circumstances? Are you making your circumstances to be giants, or are you making them to be grasshoppers? Are you making your circumstances to be mountains, or are you making them to be just molehills that can be easily overcome? This is what I want you to ask yourself today. This is what I want you to decide for yourself. This is what I want you to start realizing, that circumstances always, 100% of the time, have as much power over you as you give them. If you do not allow power to your circumstances, if you do not focus on them, if you do not pay them attention, if you do not start seeing them as something that is huge, insurmountable, something so hard to overcome, they're not going to have any effect on you, and they're going to fall apart very easily, they're going to shift very easily, they're not going to have any effect on your desire and on your manifestation. If on the other hand you make them mountains, if you make them giants instead of molehills or grasshoppers, then you're going to continue seeing evidence that they are a mountain, they are insurmountable, they are huge, they are difficult, they are impossible. So the decision and the choice is always yours. It's always on you. You're always in charge. You always have the power. You always decide. So decide today, mountains or molehills, giants or grasshoppers. The final word is with you. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.